Hola, muy buenos dias. I'm here in San Juan del Sur, where I stayed last night. I'm just going for a little walk here on the beach this morning. It's a nice day again, and man, I was in this beautiful place the last 2 weeks. I was camping out on this hill with these hippies and all off grid and everything. It was really amazing, and I loved the place, man. Beautiful beaches, amazing scenery, super nice people, and I really did love it there. But I had to leave early, and I was going to stay longer, but I had an ethical conflict there that I just couldn't stay around. And it's based on this very unpopular belief that I have. A lot of people hate me for this, but I stand for freedom for all beings, and I don't like to see any kind of being controlled or kept captive, and to me that includes pets. And I know most people don't like me for this. They love their little furry animals. They want to keep them in their house, and you know, they think they're taking care of them, but I don't want to get into an ethical debate about that. But this place I was staying had like 7 dogs, and I love dogs. I love all animals. I grew up around dogs. I'm not a dog hater, but there were 7 of these dogs, and they were constantly like playing around and trying to steal our food and jumping up on us and, you know, licking their butt and their genitals and then trying to lick me, and just a lot of different things that I just didn't feel comfortable with. But that's not really my main issue. It was more the way that these animals were being treated, including being tied up to chains, left locked in the house, locked in the car, things like that. And those are things that I kind of expect from pet owners who say they love their animals, but they still, you know, tie them up or leave them locked up or whatever it is. But one day we were going to the beach, and the person I was staying with had locked up some of the dogs upstairs, and somehow one of them came down and was trying to like come with us to the beach. And this person picks up the dog, was like trying to get the dog to go back home, and the dog wouldn't go. So this person picks up the dog and like body slams it into the mountain, like into these stairs, and starts like kicking it, like trying to get it to the dog, he or she, to go up the stairs. And wow, I was just like witnessing this animal abuse that just, it was so sad for me to see this. And then later on that day, the same person like smacked this dog on the face. I'm not really sure why. And then we went to this beautiful beach. It was one of the most beautiful beaches I've ever been to. And when we left, we had brought some of the dogs, and one of the dogs got lost. And we spent like, I don't know, a couple hours in the nighttime trying to find the dog. Trying to find this dog, and it never showed up that night. But one of the strategies they used to get the dog was locking the other dogs in the truck to purposely make them cry and scream and bark so that it would help like call in the other dogs. So, and I brought this up to somebody else. I was like, hey, like, I don't know if this is a really like ethical way of solving this issue. And they're like, well, you know, this isn't really time for an ethical debate. We need to find this dog right now. And I brought up the idea that, well, what if maybe this dog just didn't want to come back? Maybe it wasn't happy. Maybe they wanted to, you know, go about their way and live their own life. And they're like, well, you know, this isn't the time to talk about ethics, and I don't know when is not a good time to talk about ethics, but anyways. So I just, you know, I put my foot down and I left. I kind of made a split decision. I said, I'm not going to be part of any kind of group of people that's going to support animal abuse. I really just like solidified the opinion that I hold, that I just don't agree with people keeping animals. You know, I think animals should be free. I think this idea that we need to take care of these animals is such a fallacy and such an excuse for people keeping animals in human conditions and really as hostages that don't have a choice in the matter for the most part. And I know people say they love their pets. I'm going to kind of disagree with you there. I don't think you can love something and keep it on a leash or stuff it in a box or keep it locked at home or make all of its major decisions for the animal. But that's just me. I know people don't like me for that. You can defriend me if you want. It doesn't matter to me. I believe in freedom, and that's, to me, the most core element of of our survival is to be free and autonomous and be able to live our lives the way we want to, not the way someone who kind of adopted us or rescued us or whatever wants us to live. And you know, the way that people make animals go to the bathroom where they want, and they decide when the animal's going to get to exercise and when they're going to get to eat and what they're going to eat, and just all these things that just don't set well with me. But if you're an animal abuser, I ain't hanging around you. You know, I'm out here exploring this world, and it feels so good to be free. I've been in prison, and so I know what it's like to be locked up and controlled, and I'll tell you, it is the worst feeling. And I had a home, I had a bed, and I had food, which is what most people give their pets. I didn't get the belly rubs, but other than that, I was basically like a pet. And most pet owners tell me how great the life is that they give their animal. And I'm at the end of the road here, but I don't know. That's why I left. That's why I'm not going back until they change their ways. If they want to let those dogs, I don't know. I know it's a difficult thing because I also don't believe in setting them free, but it goes deeper than that. I mean, I know that dogs have been bred to be companion animals. They're really almost the only animal on this earth that can't really live without human control. I know some of them do. I see dogs that are oftentimes out in the kind of the wild or walking or roaming around the streets, and they find ways to live, but I just, you know, I don't agree with the idea of keeping animals captive. Hate me if you want, but I believe in freedom. I believe in freedom for you and for me and for every single living being on this earth that can move. They deserve their right to freedom, and I'm not putting up with anything else. So that's my little rant for the morning. Man, it's just beautiful here. I gotta say, I love Nicaragua. I liked Costa Rica a lot, but I love Nicaragua. It's a totally different feel. It's got my heart. I don't know what it is about it, but I'm gonna stay free. I hope you do too. And just think about that with you're keeping companion animals. Think about who's making the choice. Think about you know, whether this is an industry that we should be supporting. All the corporate food that they're fed that's full of all kinds of toxic GMO products, and we have no idea what these corporations are putting into them and risking these animals' lives. Every dog I've ever, or my family's ever had, has gotten tumors and health issues, and I can't imagine that they're feeding them anywhere close to a natural diet. But that's my 2 cents. Sorry for rambling so much. This is just a very passionate issue to me. I have a big disagreement with most vegans who think that keeping animals in captivity is somehow a human thing to do. I'm going to invite you to take a step further in your ethical value search to think really about the freedom for these animals. I know most vegans don't stand for zoos. What's the difference between keeping an animal in a zoo and keeping an animal in your home? Okay, just because you're the one that gets the dopamine rush from the snuggles, I feel like that's sort of exploiting the animal for human entertainment. And you can come at me all you want and say that, oh, we're taking care of these animals and we're rescuing them and adopting them, and yes, it's better than them being in a pound, and yes, it's better than them being in some type of shelter or something like that. But I just think if the demand wasn't there in the first place for people to be keeping animals as pets, then we wouldn't have this big issue. So I would encourage everybody to try to change the paradigm away from owning animals and keeping animals as pets, and shift towards freedom if you care about that. If not, then support pets, support prisons, support zoos, support anything that exploits or keeps animals from being free. You're free to do that if you want, but I'm gonna stick with my freedom. All right, peace, y'all.